So, good day to everyone who's joining us from different parts. My name is Soumya from AI CERTs, and I'll be your host for today's session. On behalf of AI CERTs, thank you for taking the time to join us today. Today's webinar, APAC's $175 billion AI market, why training providers are expanding their AI portfolio, looks at how the rapid growth of AI adoption across the APAC region is opening a significant marketing opportunity for all the training providers. As enterprises across the different regions invest heavily in the AI ready talent, training organizations have a timely window to expand their portfolios and capture this demand. It is my pleasure to introduce our speaker for today's session, that is Rajat Seth, the Sales Operation Manager at AI CERTs. Rajat works closely with global training partners to help them expand their AI education offerings and build successful certification businesses. With strong experience in partner enablement, sales operations, and strategic growth initiatives, he supports organizations in identifying market opportunities and creating practical strategies to scale AI training programs. We're excited to hear his insights on how training providers can actually position themselves to capture their share of the growing APAC AI market. With that, I'd like to hand the session over to Rajat. Rajat, the floor is yours.
So I'm going to start straight away with the headline that's there: 175 billion market, AI market that's not been explored to the right potential is if we talk about, right? So now the question here is, why are most training providers only capturing a small slice of that 175 billion? A smaller number of providers are scaling fast across multiple markets, right? Now that's where we are actually going to unpack today how training providers are turning this into a scalable model, multi-market AI learning portfolio that enterprise buyers are actively funding right now. We talk about that a little in detail and understand how this can benefit the entire region and how it has been benefiting a lot of them. Okay, let's be honest, where most of the providers sit today, most are running one market, AI workshops. Now, when I talk about one market AI workshops, I mean it's like where the content is just getting rebuilt manually every now and then, and manual content creation is something that does not reach the fullest to its scalability. Every time we enter new geography, credentials that don't really mean much outside that one market, the delivery that depends entirely on whether they can find a good local instructor. Now, that's something most of the training providers are facing a problem with. Providing a good local instructor or having a good local instructor who can actually go ahead and deliver the right kind of content. So that's one of the biggest problems. What exactly is it resulting into? Every new market means starting almost from the scratch, and positioning has to be built, credibility has to be earned with every new buy. Compliance looks different in every country, of course it does, and delivering quality becomes completely inconsistent. Now, it's a direct correlation when we talk about, the compliance taking a hit, where we are not able to find the right kind of fit in terms of, somebody who can deliver. So it definitely does take a hit. We have to start every time we enter a new market, we start right from the beginning itself. And sales cycles, of course, slow down because there's no repeatable engine behind the offer. That becomes definitely a problem. Now, if we have to compare that to enterprise ready providers, they're not doing workshops. They are building only role based certifications, digital credentials. Now, these role based certifications are correlated or are the ones which are tied to real job functions. Let's say, for example, sales, HR, marketing, finance, or if you talk about project management, product management, these are all real time functions. These are different job roles if you go in a corporate, different segments, different departments. And now that's exactly what I'm talking about. That they are doing the enterprise ready providers are providing role based certifications which are directly aligned to these certifications that I talk about. They are vendor aligned, they are portable digital credentials, and a standardized delivery and assessment model is something that they bank on. The result for them is completely different. The buyers, they trust the offer faster, credentials travel across the markets and employers, and delivery becomes repeatable, localization becomes a light adaptation instead of a full rebuild. That's exactly the entire, as we say, a thesis of today's session that we're going to talk about. Yeah. Moving ahead. Okay. When we talk about the globally recognized certifications, they are aligned to real enterprise job functions, as we have already discussed. Now, what the buyers are actually looking at? Buyers are looking at compliance and APAC data regulations. Now, every country, if we talk about, has a different compliance and data regulation that they have to abide by or they have to comply with. ROI measurement frameworks is something that uh, every entity or every training provider is definitely going to look at because everybody is running a business. Why are the markets failing? Recognition is very hard to establish. Role-based pathways take time to rebuild. Rebuilding is something that takes time and does not scale to its full potential. That's exactly what we talk about. Content and positioning become extremely fragmented. Now, if I have to talk about content, as I spoke earlier, creating the content right from the scratch all over again is something that does not help the market become scalable. That does not really help in scaling the business models. The credibility takes years to build. Expansion proof is hard to create alone. Now, these are certain elements that impact the market directly, even if you have a product which is ready to go to the market. No credibility, nobody's ready to purchase, nobody's ready to buy. That credibility is something that needs to be created, and it does take years to build. Delivery gets definitely gets harder as geography expands. Now, I've seen most of the companies at a global level, you know, when they are scaling up, it becomes very difficult for them to expand because new market, new compliances, uh, new requirements, and these are definitely the roadblocks that we talk about today. Okay, moving ahead on this. If I talk about the regulatory fragmentation, every market has different compliance and procurement expectations. And what works with one buyer does not need to automatically work with or transfer to the next one. Every new geography adds a legal and positioning work. Now, as I said, every new geography will have a different legal framework, which every seller has to abide with. Instructor availability, of course, takes a hit. The biggest challenge and the biggest problem in local instructors are not easily available. You know, APAC, Asia Pacific, spans into multiple time zones. Now, qualified AI instructors is not something that they are not very easy to hire and retain, and that the talent pool is being fought over uh, across various sectors, as we know. Without ready instructor support, the market launch is definitely a problem. Stating that, if we talk about the rapid AI evolution, AI tools and models are changing faster than most providers can actually update the content. We update our content every quarter. You know, nobody wants their learners to be irrelevant. AI is diversified. AI has a huge impact. AI is ever changing. It's ever evolving. So the updation of content or to keep your learner relevant into the market is something that is of utmost importance, or you would definitely lose the grip in the market. Now, that's something that is very important, and hence by the time the market content is refreshed, usually for the local AI training providers, you know, uh, it may be you're already behind of the kind of updates that AI is providing. Localization is something that adds more lag on top of that, where you do not find an instructor. The key takeaway from this, the complexity is definitely very real, which is exactly why providers with enterprise ready, repeatable infrastructure behind them are the ones who are capturing this opportunity faster than everyone and still trying to rebuild from the scratch. Okay, moving ahead on this one. Now, when we look at the buyer questions, you know, how do you keep training relevant as AI changes this fast? So, you know, it's as simple as it gets. Updates, because updates are very slow. As I said, localization delays, market falls out of sync, scalable models win. Scalable models are going to win because updates are shared across every market at once. It's not that updates are going in separate sections or they are going at different times. No, they're shared at once. Vendor aligned pathways stay current automatically. Now, looking at the second one, why should we trust this offer across teams or markets? Relevant enough because generic workshops and internal credentials just don't travel very well. Credibility has to be re explained every time, now and again. Now, if you have to explain credibility every time, it definitely becomes a problem. Role based certification solve this because recognition is already built, and one strong offer can serve multiple buyer segments. And that's exactly how it is.